Hey everyone, we have received an exciting update in the in-game notice. We're getting what was Valentine's event in JP version, which is pretty much expected. But also we got a news that we are receiving the Fragment Farm event together, which we thought it was postponed to anniversary timings based on our information source. Instead, devs has decided to launch this together with the Valentine's Day event, which is really great news and good decision, I think. I think, we all need fragments and looking for ways to burn our stamina after the Dragon Quest IV. And I think Valentine's event, as I've shown you in my previous video, would have been quite a quick and dry event without this fragment farm. So I'm really happy to hear about this update. Anyway, I want to explain to you first how it's different to previous fragment farm events and why was it thought to be the best fragment farm ever in Japan. Then I have some recommendations, small recommendation for the ways you should farm. So I want to explain about that as well. Some information might be more targeted for new players, so I recommend to skip as necessary if you consider yourself a veteran on this world. Please do like and subscribe if you found any of this useful, and it really helps me make my future content as well. Anyway, let's move on to the content. So why is it this event best fragment considered to be best of all the previous fragment events? Before I do that though, it's been a while since we had last had the fragment event. So I wanted to make sure that we are on the same hymn sheet when we talk about the previous fragment events. So the previous fragment events, just a reminding, we had was FFBE. We also had the fig farm, pillow farm. So I think those are the only three that we had in the ones. And the way that we used to farm it was by collecting the invitation. And in terms of the invitations, they used to drop from the event stage only. So it wouldn't drop from story, it wouldn't drop from rank up mats, it wouldn't drop from tome quest, and so on and so forth. So what that meant was, for example, in FFBE, I had to continue farming Montu Accessible Awakening just to farm the fragments. Also, the drop rates of these tickets were invitations were terrible. I think according to the database, it's about 500 stamina per invitation item, and which is pretty low. So it can also low it can go low roll. So it really could be stuck there for without invitation for a long time. And then what does this invitation do was that it allowed you to enter the special stage. Each special stage required one invitation to enter. And then once you enter and clear the very easy stage, then you get a token that you can exchange for desired fragments. And in the previous cases, it was one token that you can exchange for one fragment. On top of this, in the actual special stage, you were sometimes rewarded with an extra invitation card, allowing you to come back and making all of that essentially, free win basically, and allowed you to do another special stage, and that was between 1 or 0. But the probability I could see from database is about drop rate was 30%, which meant that if you got 10 invitation, you can do 10 runs, and 3 of which you could expect back as an average. Also, there were consolation prizes that if you didn't get the invitation drop, then you get a stamina juice that you can use for other events. Also, irregardless of invitations drop, you will still get other items such as tome and alchemy mats. The duration for these events typically, give an example of FOB, were around 40 days, so just over a month. So that was the previous Figs and FFBE Cactuar events that we've seen, mostly the same conditions and the way it worked. Now the devs decided to give it a different spin for this round, And in this event, what we are expecting is that the invitation drops are in the same way. However, invitation drops from all stamina costing stage, including story, including reminiscence, including tome and rank up mats. So this is a really great news because it means that you don't have to end up farming things that you don't want. It's more you continue farming what you want, and as a bonus, you get the free fragment options. Approximate drop rate of this, I tried to find a figure. Is I wasn't able to get a comparative number. However, from the source, I understand that this is at much better drop rate, as efficient as maybe 3 times more efficient, and so on and so forth. Of course, it's all relative variance. Without the kind of the data mine, it's hard to say, but we can expect it to drop quite frequently. What's different about this invitation, though, is that you need 5 of these invitations per entry into the special stage. But across the kind of drop rate from the normal stamina costing quests, and it will offset. Drop rate from that is high enough that it offsets that it requires 5. So basically, you will get more run for 500 stamina, more than one ticket. So that will be the expectation. You'll be able to run more special stages than the previous ones. So it's all good good news up to here. And this and then special stages themselves is where things get a little bit complicated. So first of all, the fragment tokens drops are not consistent. So it's not one fragment token every special stage clear. It will drop between 1 to 50. So variance of 50, and the a maximum can drop that is a 50 tokens. Now exchange, the way it works in exchange is also different. That in previous events it used to be 1 token per 1 fragment. In this new event it will be 10 tokens per 1 fragment. What that means is if 10 fragment tokens drops, it's equivalent to the previous event in terms of the drop. However, if it's say 135, then it per special stage run, it's less efficient. But also it can roll high at 25, 50, then you're on the winning streak. So it's a lot more a gambling element. Also, in terms of invitation drop, this was a gambling factor from the previous event as well, but that's become a little bit more sort of spread. That risk's been spread out in a way, so the invitation can drop between 1 to 10, as you see on the screen. In the terms of the average drop is about 2.36. Now, considering that you need five of these tokens, that if you do, you get 2.3 per run on average. So what that means is that roughly speaking, if you do 2 or 3 runs of these, you get another entry back into special stage. So that rate is significantly better, even considering the 5 in 10, the more costly invitation per entry. So good news up to now that it's more likely to get the fragments, although it's a little bit of variance. The one downside of this event is that you're not going to get consolation prizes for, even if you get say 1-1 on each of the stage, which is quite likely, unfortunately. You will get no stamina, and every clear you will not get tome or alchemy mats like you did in previous events. Also, this event runs, if it's the same as the Japan version, JP version, then it will be run a lot shorter than previous events. So it'd be more efficient, but it'll be more shorter farm in summary. So that was a lot of information, and you might be you might have already skipped to here, just wanting to know what does this all mean to you. So let me trying to explain in a simple terms. So this fragment event is actually better on average, better max potential. It can roll high, but it has a more variance factor that it on drop rates, which means that it can be worse if you are very unlucky. But on average, you should be be able to expect at least same or better drop rates on the fragments. So as I said, invitations cards is much better drop rates. It can drop from all stamina costing stages of your choice. Once you enter the special stage, the downside is that it's only for fragment. That you see on the screen the previous consolation prizes on the right. So you're not going to get any of that. In terms of the fragment drop is about 0.1 to 5 fragments per clear, which is huge upgrade per stage if you roll high. But if you roll low, then per special stage, then it's going to be a lot lower than previous ones. The invitation tickets can drop from the special stage, and you can continue to do infinitely theoretically, and furthermore, if it rolls really high, you get 2 entries to special stage potentially if you get 10 invitations back for the five invitations that you spent. So a lot of kind of gambling factors, but I think on average this should be a really good event because you can just carry on farming what you want, including DQ4 event, I'd imagine. Okay, so that's enough for the event details. But let me just gonna explain what I'll be doing, and in a way that's kind of my recommendation or priority for order of farming. Now, bear in mind where to farm. This is a where to farm invitations recommendation order, not a priority of importance. The priority importance depends on what you want and what you need. But at least for me, what I'm going to be doing is be focusing on the Valentine's event. Firstly, doing the sweet troll, and then farming any other Valentine's stuff. So for the details of who's sweet troll and what Valentine's event offers as a drop, do check out my previous video. I will leave a link in the comments. And secondly, then I will move on to anything but story stages. So this includes Landcraft mats, Tome, Reminiscence, DQ4 event, etc. Now, the reason I'm saying to avoid doing story next is not because story are thought to be unimportant, but it's in fact because we could be now. Just bear in mind that we don't know if this will exactly happen for definite. But if we are going by the same timeline as JP, then we could be getting story stage campaign for double drops on units, double drops on items, etc. So unless you are absolutely desperate for any of the drops that you can only find in story, I'll recommend parking that to nearer to the end of this fragment event. Speaking of reminiscence, I think this is a really great opportunity for new players to catch up, to ways to improve, and also ways to improve your gear rolls for the old players. I've already made a start on getting extra alchemy mats as well through the reminiscence as well. But I just want to kind of highlight some of the key prizes that you can go for in the reminiscence while you farm for fragments. Also, just a small note that if you do farm the alchemy mats, I will suggest to wait for the alchemy update that's expected to come end of this month or soon nearer to that. The reason is that your alchemy efficiency is going to be significantly better after the update. So what I would do is try to farm the alchemy materials through reminiscence, but try not to use it as much as possible as you may have been if you knew about the alchemy update. Anyway, so some of the key prizes from reminiscence that I can recommend both for old and new users are as follows. So from the Santa events, from Santa Elena and Hood, obviously for the new players who hasn't maxed Red Hood, he's proven to be very useful in the Mega Boss battle that we got now. Also, there's a Santa Claus from Santa Elena That's an excellent agility gear. I think it's the second, that can, theoretically can go up the second fastest weapon in game. So I'm actually currently farming this, and I'll continue to farm during this fragment event. And next one is the Beast Fest. Now, this is the famous Beastmaster Claw, which offers the fastest agility in the game for the weapon if you roll high. Now, the rolls are very, very, focused around agility. A lot of them are agility based, so it's very easy to triple roll agility on. I'm trying to farm this as well to improve my agility rolls. Next is the Dragon Quest VII event. This is probably more important for new users who haven't done the DQ7 event themselves. But Okeano sword is an excellent HP source, and the circlet is it's only available in swap shop, but it's a great for curse resistance on some of the blossom doors. But also you can roll for MP for various use. First Anniversary Festive Eve is another one which offers a gold dagger, great source of MP, and also this stage is actually a great source for gold as well. Dragon Quest II Reminiscence we had is that Sword of Ruins that's available. This is a really important gear. So if you haven't got it, I strongly recommend priorities getting that. And also, Flowing Dress, only available in Swap Shop, is excellent source of Wiz and MP. And one after that is DQ4 event. This offers various items. So Frail Destruction is probably one of the most used weapon for physical attackers. I don't recall ever going onto a fight without this. So if you're a new player and don't have this, I'll definitely recommend farming that. Saronel is gaining importance, especially with the PMS Blossom, but also great for generic agility use. I can't remember the name of this staff. I call it Seraphy staff because I'm usually using a herb. It's an A rank staff, but it's one of the best staff for the healers yet to this date. So I definitely recommend farming those three. And I can't, I think I would need another video if I were to cover all reminiscence farming guide. So I'll stop there. But as you see on the bottom of the images, there are many other great S to A farmable gears and units as well if you haven't. So you wouldn't run out of things to do, I think, during this fragment event. And once, as I said, once the story campaign starts, I really do, I think then you should start, farming for the units on the story or items. I just picked out a few, recommendations or a few I thought would be worth noting, like Helion or, Lucifer. I put, but Lucifer is getting a blossom, so in a couple of months' time. So he's also quite a good farm. Claria and this kind of aubergine guy who does charm. There's plenty. There's plenty to do. What I've done is provided a link the way you can see what a full list of farmable units are. It's from the GameMate, the JP site. It's got translated, Google translated. So I recommend to check out and kind of farm the stages that you like. Okay, so that was a pretty long video, but that concludes the summary for the fragment event. Hope you found this useful. If you haven't, please do subscribe. And if you like this content, please press like. That would really help me to, make more videos like this. Thank you again. See you soon.